You know why I never review books?
Because I use it as a tower to stand my tripod. Look at it. Tom Sawyer's basically just sitting right below over there.
And if I'm gonna talk about any book, it's gonna be this one. And I'll put that in thumbnail. Now let's talk about that book, shall we?
Why don't you give me your love? Give me your love.
Greetings y'all, the name's JUNA.R.J and I'm back for another video, and in this video I'll be talking about this book review for the first time, and this time we'll be talking about The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're quantity over quality right now, so you want to share this to your friend. I know that's a bad start, but really we're not gaining any subscribers at this moment, so it's important if you subscribe. But now back to the book review. So The Legend of Sleepy Hollow is actually a book from the best ghost stories ever, which is basically just a book we pick. It's basically based on the ghost Headless Horseman, who is this guy over here. I remember I meet him back in Disneyland Hong Kong when I was at the age of 9 in 2011. Not important right now, but what's important is about the Headless Horseman. So it takes place somewhere in the 16th of the 17th century, somewhere in that time, in the old village time. So yeah, basically it's about Sleepy Hollow. It's about the Headless Horseman who's basically haunting all over the city, and people are just, fighting mystery. To be honest, I actually never get to complete this book because, I didn't have enough time to complete this book. But I'll tell you something. What I'm going to tell you is how interesting this book is. I know Sleepy Hollow. I never get to know what Sleepy Hollow is actually about. I thought it's about this sleeping demon ghost or something, but until it's about the Headless Horseman. They could have just said it's just about the Headless Horseman, and there you go, it's about the Headless Horseman. So I never get to discuss about how the origin of the Headless Horseman looks like, but in this book, I promise myself, I hope that we get an origin of how the Headless Horseman was made. Well, we actually did get a literature circle, and my role in here is that I become a literary luminary, and that's basically just writing down all the parts that is important from the book, because it's very important to me that everything is important from the book, because what's not important is what's not in the story. And many parts of this book, I'm going to say that this book is very Shakespearean, so basically I want to go front back to, whenever I read this book. So like, I want to see these words. Whoever's doing Word Wizard will get to understand more about this word, because this English that they use are basically very hard words and very expert words, more than the words that you usually use in English class, more than the English that I usually talk these days. But therefore, what I thought was actually very interesting, I had to go back to several pages, just go front back whenever I read this book, because of how misunderstanding this book is. But the Shakespearean, it doesn't make the book bad. People who have a hard time reading this might hate this, but it actually is a good book after all. The writing is just very interesting. I thought when I see the Shakespearean writing, you're gonna have a hard time reading this, and of course it's a challenging book because it is challenging. I thought to myself that, I'm gonna have a fun time reading this book, but in terms of time, I don't have enough time, but I'm gonna enjoy this challenging book. Now, in terms of characters, I really don't know any of the characters, because whenever there are many words, they're very detailed about the story. The words that they use are very detailed of how expert they are in telling the story, that you can even get along with the characters. All I remember is that the characters, you get a schoolmaster, you get a girl that everyone in the town loves, and then you get a gang basically who tries to defeat the schoolmaster because he wants the girl type of Romeo and Juliet stuff. Yeah, I could actually just bring this movie along as another example, but of course it's irrelevant. I mean, it takes place in the 16th and 17th century, which is very interesting, and it talks about the Headless Horseman. During the literature circle, we even did discuss about how the Headless Horseman came from. Even one of my friends told me that this actually came from this guy who basically was a soldier, and then suddenly he just put on his helmet for some reason, and then he becomes the Headless Horseman. I mean, it would be awesome if I see the Headless Horseman in real life, but I couldn't imagine what the Headless Horseman would look like in real life. The only thing we'll ever get to meet him is in Halloween Horror Nights, or basically whenever Disneyland comes up with a Halloween event. Alright, so in the end, of course, all the irrelevant stuff. I mean, I did have a hard time with this book. I'm sorry that I didn't get to tell you much about this book, but my point is that I did some literature circle, and I thought that this book was very interesting. I'm going to say this, but The Legend of Sleepy Hollow is a classic and interesting book for every readers to read. That's a really lazy critic. I could have come up with something great, but since I'm a little bit quick with reviewing this book, so I had to be, time consuming. And yeah, expect my review on Mortal Engines, the movie. Yes, I'm currently working on my review on Mortal Engines until I realized that I have a book to review which I did not ask for. But, oh well, I have to review this book. So yeah, sorry for this crappy video, Mr. Rob. If you're watching this, well, this is the best I can tell you. You want a book review? I'll give it to you. So yeah, that was my review on The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. If you want to read the book, you can go to the link in the description below, where I leave you a link to the PDF where you can download it for free. But yeah, that was my review on The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Before you leave, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want more about movie reviews, because that's all I do. So, but yeah, that was my review on The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Here's the outro.
That is all for this video. If you do enjoy this video, give it a like. That would be very helpful. And in the description, you'll find the link so you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. I appreciate you guys for watching this. And I'll see you another time. Bye-bye.